Let's start today. We did Myanmar for several times, and today I'm going to show you the last video of this is talking about Aung San Suu Kyi. But still, she is very sticking to, she not apologized for Rohingya massacre. Actually, she did. So last week I checked her speech, but she didn't speak at anything at all. But this is a September video, but still situation is same as before. This one is talking about Rohingya crisis, and inside the story, will Aung San Suu Kyi step up to halt Rohingya crisis? Okay, global pressure is mounting on Myanmar's army and the country's leader Aung San Suu Kyi to end the killing and displacement of Rohingya Muslim. Actually, they almost everybody moving to the Bangladesh. I don't know how many, but actually 1 million people in Myanmar, but at least 800,000 people moving to Bangladesh. Okay, so UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Antonio Guterres is UN Secretary General, but he's not strong person. Okay, he's not strong person. Has called the killing catastrophic and completely unacceptable. He said. Okay, he said the Myanmar military should suspend its operation in the western Rakhine state and allow Rohingya to return to their village. But it's almost impossible. This is because they just burn their village, house, everything. So already moving to the from the Myanmar to Bangladesh. And at least 400,000, this time September, so 400,000 people have fled to Bangladesh since the violence escalated late last month. This is August, okay? As more Rohingya flee to Bangladesh, what will it take to stop this violence? Actually, 800,000 people moved. So let's have a look at this video. This is a very interesting video, okay?
General Antonio Guterres describing the attacks against Muslim Rohingya in Myanmar. As more people flee to Bangladesh, what will it take to stop this violence? This is Inside Story.
But if you watch this video, but you can recognize almost people, women and child, few men. But what happened for me, for men, might be killed. Okay, I don't know what happened, but you can have a look just women.
Hello, welcome to the program. I'm Jane Dutton. Global pressure is mounting on Myanmar and its leader Aung San Suu Kyi to end the killing and displacement of Muslim Rohingya. The UN has urged the government to take immediate steps to stop the violence.
Okay, beforehand, I think I had better check a word. I'm going to check it for you. Just have a look. Logjam. Stalemate, logjam. Footage. Just below. Scorched earth policy. This is using, よく使いますね。scorched earth policy. それから、stampede. これも使いますね。eradication. これもよく出てきます。pussyfoot. これはあんまり使わない。聞いたことない。pussyfoot. それから、contextual. まあ、時々たまに。influence. これもほとんど使わない。sociological. これ普通ですね。spikes. これも時々ですね。move in sync with. あと、たまに move in sync って言葉ね。それから、defective。これもよく出ますね。欠陥のある。anachronistic。これもよく出ます。anachronistic。それから、institutionalized violence。 institutionalized violence という言葉は、あんまり使わないですけど、インスティテューションと制度とか、組織とかっていう言葉の動詞ですね。institutionalized violence。こういうふうな使い方あんまりないけど、ここではこういう意味ですね。spectacularly 著しいですね。これは spectacular です。gratify。これもあんまり使わないね。gratify。Okay, this is a new word. Okay? logjam. Stalemate. Okay? So, let's have a look. Let's continue.
Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on Myanmar's military to suspend its operation in the western Rakhine state and allow Rohingya to return to their villages. At least 400,000 people have fled to Bangladesh since the violence escalated late last month. There's a lot to get to with our guest, but first James Bays sets up our discussion from UN headquarters in New York.
These were the toughest words yet from the Secretary-General on the ongoing violence in Myanmar. I call on the Myanmar authorities to...
This is Guterres. Okay, Secretary, Guterres.
To suspend military action, end the violence, uphold the rule of law, and recognize the right of return of all those who have to leave the country. The UN knows the situation is deteriorating fast. When Mr. Guterres last spoke to reporters a week ago, there were 125,000 Rohingya refugees. That number has now tripled. Given the situation has got so much worse in the last week, do you believe this is ethnic cleansing?
He said ethnic cleansing, 民族浄化ね. Ethnic cleansing. And this is ethnic cleansing, but why you don't use this word? He said.
Well, I would answer your question with another question. When 1/3 of the Rohingya population had to flee the country, can you find a better word to describe it?
So he didn't use that exact ethnic cleansing, but he said, you find a better word to describe it? Means, これ以上、そのethnic cleansing 他に言う言葉ありますか？でも彼はその言葉使ってないけども、そういうふうなことを言ってるのね。
Secretary General has already taken the extremely rare step of writing to the Security Council urging them to take action. As he spoke, the Council was meeting, first with an open session of...
これ、国連のあれですけど、this is a United Nations meeting, but actually China and Russia against it. Why China is against it? Because China is very close connection with Myanmar military. They are making a dam, requested by military, so very long-term relationship with them. That's the reason. Military is actually killing Rohingya. Okay? And finally, I tell you, but I don't know how come Aung San Suu Kyi, she does not accept kind of Rohingyas ethnic cleansing. This is, I don't understand why. Okay, but military, obviously, they try to kill them because the first reason caused by Rohingya people, some of the people attack police station in Rakhine state. This is the first step they call the problem. Then military get upset to kill them all. Okay? Not kill them, actually they try to kick them out from that village. They move into the Bangladesh instead of our country. Because you try to attack police, you try to attack local people, you need to go outside this country. This actually they happen. And still many people sticking to that location, those people are killed. Especially men are killed. So that's the reason why they escaped from Rakhine state to Bangladesh. Okay?
On Somalia, it was only after that ended and they went into closed session and when they discussed any other business that the crisis in Myanmar was finally raised. Afterwards, the President of the Security Council read a carefully worded statement that was nowhere near as strong as the words of the Secretary-General.
Just as he said, not strongest word. He didn't use it.
Members of the Security Council expressed deep concern about the situation in Rakhine State, acknowledging the initial attack on Myanmar security forces on 25th August
Should Myanmar stop all its military operations in the state now? That's what the Secretary General says. Does the Security Council share that view?
Now, that's the statement that I read out is what we have agreed.
There are some who will see that as a very weak statement.
That's the question. Okay, the weak statement.
Some might say.
So why is the Security Council not being tougher? There's always a logjam when there's a lack of unity.
Logjam, okay, stalemate, I told you. Ikizumari, logjam.
And when one of the permanent 5 members is opposed to action. In this case, diplomats point to China, a
Okay, China.
long-standing ally of Myanmar's military. James Bays, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
Let's bring in our guests in Bangkok. Phil Robertson, Deputy Asia Director for Human Rights Watch, joining us from Yangon in Myanmar. Abdul Rashid, founder and chairman.
He is come from Yangon in Myanmar, okay? This is Myanmar person.
At the Rohingya Foundation Committee.
Rohingya Foundation community. So he is belonging to Rohingya people.
And in London, Wang Zania.
This one is in London. His name Wang, so it means Chinese origin.
Human rights activist.
Human rights activist, but he is a kind of military person, former military person.
All 3 of you. Abdul Rashid, at this rate, are there going to be any Rohingya left in Myanmar?
Of course, still many Rohingya already left inside the Rakhine state, but they are in a very severe situation. They are very facing huge problem for the food, as they don't have the food. So many people is on the way to Bangladesh. So many people, a few days, maybe many days on the way. So without food and water. So this is huge catastrophe as well. The people facing inside the Myanmar as well.
We are hearing that almost 40% of Rohingya villages are empty. I mean, from a military perspective, that's almost a job done, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, maybe as the footage we're receiving and information we're receiving is about half of the population already destroyed.
Have a look, just many women and children.
And more than 400,000 already left, went to the Bangladesh, and around 100,000 is on the way and inside the jungle and inside the mountain and the water, river, wherever they trying to leave the country as well. So, and they don't feel secure here. So most important thing is need people security and the protection. What they don't find the protection here.
And Phil Robinson, I'm just wondering from your experience, what you see on the ground, how this is playing out, this situation that has been called ethnic cleansing.
We're calling it ethnic cleansing. We agree with Secretary General.
This is, I think, you have a look. Those people is much more focused on kind of sort of left-wing people, and the guy just speak at Rohingya community, and first person. This person is kind of human rights watch organization, and the last one is later he's going to speak as he's some activist, right, or against kind of activity. So their opinion is very much sort of biased, and that's the reason why he is talking about ethnic cleansing. But beforehand, first of all, you watch this video, but you must be careful watch this, because okay, this is first, originally Rohingya people attack police of Myanmar. This is a cause military attack Rohingya people. And this kind of sort of things happen in the past several times. Okay, but this time is very large scale. They attack police offices, so military kick them out from their country. Without don't going out the country, but they're going to kill them. This sort of things happen, and then burn village, houses, everything. Okay, this is not originally they tried to intend into ethnic cleansing. Okay, they try to kick them out from their country. This is different.
Why did Rohingya people attack police?
Why Rohingya people?
Attack police.
Oh, because they somebody bad guy encourage them to attack police. bad guy because intentionally. No. Some similar to ISIL people, or some other maybe military people. Military people is they try to encourage the Rohingya people attack the police office. So they okay, you attack, right? So military kicks them out. They try to looking for the reason. Maybe ISIL or military. They intentionally encourage them to do that. So I don't know. Or the other reason is military try to plan Aung San Suu Kyi out. Okay? Military consider for Aung San Suu Kyi try to go out from government. So this kind of sort of things, because military believe she never against their voter people. People is Buddhist, right? This country Buddhists hate Rohingya. They are Muslim. So Aung San Suu Kyi never criticized Buddhist people. So they believe, okay, the military going to attack in Rohingya. Aung San Suu Kyi never against them. So this is a good reason to try to kick her out, because she is actually now rest of the world criticize her, right? So it means she cannot get any investment or aid from the world. None of the country will going to support her. It means what she's going to survive, right? So my opinion is military will kick the kind of incident. And the incident, Rohingya people, several men, I don't know how many, but they try to attack police. Okay, you attack police, you don't need, you can stay here. Then force them out, burn village and kill people. This finally is Aung San Suu Kyi had a very critical situation right now. Right? Time goes by. Okay, none of the country will going to make investment to Myanmar. So it means she cannot sustain her position as government. I believe this is a major reason. But this one is too much concerned about ethnic cleansing, or what kind of action globally we're going to take, and also what kind of Aung San Suu Kyi need to support Rohingya people. Sort of opinion they are speaker. This point is different. Okay, this video is at that standpoint you can watch. But normally just view this video might be much more human right kind of opinion you could receive. This is wrong, more politically. This is some other people intentionally do something for her. Okay?
So that there is ethnic cleansing taking place there. Also with the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Mr. Zaid, who also called it ethnic cleansing. What is happening is a scorched earth campaign.
Scorched earth, I just explained that. Shoulder success, scorched earth campaign. So, I'll go, anyway, next year I'm going to start my network, net service broadcasting next year. Okay, why I'm intending to open this kind of broadcast? Because, okay, I'm going to show you this video, but I'll have another opinion. Okay, well, Japanese people must be more accurate understanding for this kind of incident. Many people, just consider for this one is ethnic cleansing, and lots of sentiment for those people. No. Originally, they are honest people, but they are lied by military. Okay, so sort of things I need to explain for them to better understand.
That it's designed to essentially stampede the Rohingya out of northern Rakhine State, and then sort of a cleanup operation where either army or local Rakhine Buddhists are setting alight the villages that have been abandoned. It's created a massive humanitarian crisis on the Bangladesh border, and it's created a wide swath of northern Rakhine State that no longer have a Rohingya there.
She says Swaz is just Myanmar 端っこのことね。端っこのSwaz 帯状の。
That's the classic definition of ethnic cleansing. We're going to be coming out overnight with new information showing that we've 59 different villages that have been destroyed by arson. A number of those we have sensory data from environmental satellites. Others we have satellite imagery, which is still hard to come by because, of course, it is monsoon season. So that a lot of times we're fighting with cloud cover to get a clear picture of what's taking place. But the devastation is widespread, and it is obviously designed to stampede these people out of the country and to ultimately keep them out, because I think that there's very little likelihood without a concerted effort by the international community that Burma will ever allow these people to come back to the northern Rakhine State.
And Phil, you are hearing at the same time horrific stories of what's been done to men, women, and children.
Well, right now we're investigating at least 5 massacres where people have been, a village was surrounded and people were slaughtered. In most cases, what we have found is that people were able to get away from their village. Sometimes they were shot at. Sometimes they were hit with mortars so that there were shrapnel wounds. But in many cases, it appears that they're trying to stampede people out of these areas. They're trying to get them on the run and drive them out of the country. That seems to be the major intent right here. And, you know, if that requires the military of Burma killing some people, well, obviously they're willing to do that. They need to be held accountable. There needs to be a global arms embargo on...
Okay, just stampede.
Does Myanmar accept them? Myanmarじゃない、Bangladesh accept.
Bangladesh, Hasina, the Prime Minister, accepted everybody. Keep staying in Bangladesh. And actually currently almost 800,000 people. And Prime Minister Hasina of Bangladesh accepted willing to stay there. But Bangladesh is a very poor country, so they cannot sustain permanently. So this is a problem. So that the refugee camp, they have shortage of medicine, water, and no, of course, no electricity, nothing. But still, 800,000 people is a tremendous amount of people to stay there. So she is talking with Myanmar people, Aung San Suu Kyi, as soon as they need to prepare to going back to Myanmar from Bangladesh. But Aung San Suu Kyi agreed with her, but it is impossible because they burned every village, no houses. So even if they're going to consider for those refugees return to Myanmar, it takes at least half a year or 1 year, right? But do the local people will accept them, or maybe difficult? So what's going on? It's a very difficult issue. So, but Hasina, Bangladesh cannot sustain those people staying there. Right? So this is a very serious issue. But I tell you, what I'm now is doing in Africa. Africa is more 1 million people killed, no problem. refugees camp everywhere. Okay, so in the concept of Africa and rape is everybody. So if you consider Africa as Myanmar issue, oh, the African people believe, oh, this is small bit. But Asian people very astounding this kind of phenomena. But African people, oh no, this is one of the phenomena. Okay, this is going.
Burma, and there needs to be a suspension of all military ties that have grown up with the Burmese military in countries like Australia, the U.S., the U.K., and others.
Wangzani, if we are seeing an ethnic cleansing unfolding here,
what do you think?
He said a arms embargo on Burma.
Oh, he said arms embargo, 禁止ね。global arms embargo on Burma. ビルマに武器の禁止。There need to be
and there needs to be a suspension of all military
Okay, suspension of military ties. だから軍事関係をね、サスペンドしなさいと言ってる。で、アームズエンバーゴをしなさい。
ties that have grown up with the Burmese military in countries like Australia,
オーストラリアと
the
か
US,、the
アメ
UK,
リ
and
カ、
others.
UK とか、そういうね、そういうことをしてる。でもそんなことしてもナンセンスでしょ？ It's nonsense. Useless.
Anzani, if we are seeing an ethnic cleansing unfolding here, what do you think the end game is?
Well, the end game is the eradication of the Rohingya as a group. And
Okay, eradication, 根絶ね、eradication.
that takes us to a serious, discussion about why the UN is pussyfooting around this issue.
Pushing footing って煮え切らないね。Pushing footing. グテーレスが言ったでしょ？ It's what he said. I don't say kind of, harsh word. It's Ukrainian, right? Right? So that's just he said, pussyfooting.
Using the word ethnic cleansing, which is ahistorical and completely, non-contextual, given the fact that my country and that my friends who are running the army,
My friend, he is a former, some position in the army.
Verifiable, inferable intent to destroy this group as a matter of policy. It's, we have in Burma, my relatives are in the army, different
My relatives in the army.
branches, and there is more than enough evidence to establish that the intent behind driving these people out is not simply to secure the geographic location, but to destroy them as a community and to destroy their history, erase their identity. That is the classic definition. However you define it, however we define the term genocide, either narrowly, legally, which UN attempts to do, and human rights organizations with lots of lawyers attempt to do, or sociologically, as the original framer of the term genocide, Raphael Lemkimbo would want it. And so, if you look at...
Okay, well then tell me what you think.
He said this is genocide. Okay? So why United Nations don't say, Guterres don't say genocide? Ethnic cleansing. He just complained.
What is happening and what
He's get hot.
the military is trying to achieve here? What is it then?
That the military is trying to cleanse the entire area and restore it to the original state, which they think...
Oh, by the way, what he said shows up his position here. Okay. No, he's just explanation.
has no Muslims historically there. And so I think that, the expelling people, driving them, by the thousands, starting in 1978.
1978, they did the same thing. Expelled, 追い出すね。starting 1978. Okay.
With spikes of massive violence, killing thousands, raping hundreds of women, periodically every 10, 15 years. The army has been doing it for almost 40 years.
Okay, every 10 to 15 years. Okay. Almost 40 years.
The conditions, physical and biological conditions under which the entire Rohingya population has been kept. The intent is to gradually, physically destroy this community, biologically stop them.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Abdul Rashid here. I mean, what do you think can be done if we are seeing a form of ethnic cleansing here to get all the Rohingya out of the country? What is going to stop the military now? Who is going to stop the military now? I mean, you've heard from the United Nations and they've just expressed deep concern. Is that enough?
What we believe is we want to peace and peace in our country, want to see the peace. So I think for the Burmese military and for the Myanmar government as well, is the most important thing to realize the voice of the international community and the tune of the word of the General Secretary General of the United Nations is very, very important. So they have to respect, and maybe it's very good to them to listen the voice of the international community.
But why would they listen to the international community
situation,
when they know that nobody's going to come in and stop them?
I think if they're not stopped right now, maybe a situation going more worse than we are seeing. The tune is very different than others before previously they used. So I think Burmese military and the Myanmar government has to be understand the tune of the Secretary General. This used word is very, very important. That's why, and for the solution is the most important. First is to stop the current operation, very important, and secondly, and to open all the access of the humanitarian aid. People need to be feeded, and then people need medicine as well.
So he said just stop killing Rohingya people, and they need to consider for the, like he said, medicine and food, right? Provide food, he said. Listening the voice of United Nations, right? He said.
And the third thing is possible return of the people who already left the country and bring them with the peace and the security and with the dignity. That is very.
But he said this is nonsense, right?
Very important. I think these are implementable.
Okay, but to pick up on what you said a little bit earlier on, so I mean, why would the Rohingya return back to Myanmar? They know that they're not wanted. The situation is not likely to change anytime soon. Is there anything Aung San Suu Kyi, I just want to ask Phil this, is there anything, do you think, that Aung San Suu Kyi can do? Does she have any control over the military at all? It doesn't seem to be the case.
There's a couple points here, I think. In terms of what can be done by the international community, there has to be pressure put on Min Aung Hlaing and the Burma army.
He said have to be pressure put on online Burma army and government.
They're the people who can stop this immediately. And what we're talking about here, to start with, is as I mentioned, a global arms embargo. No one being able to sell.
Again, he's talking about global arms embargo, right?
Arms to Burma. We're also going after any sort of program that has been introduced to work with the Burma army. And there are a number of militaries around the world who have moved towards that, and they need to suspend those programs. More importantly, I think we need to be looking at possible reintroduction of economic sanctions.
You know, look at the US involvement there from a military point of view, the British involvement from a military point of view, the fact that China supports what is going on.
Well, I mean, if there is a global arms embargo that is proclaimed by the UN Security Council, China doesn't have to abide by that, along with Belarus.
He does not know China's involvement for the military. He does not know.
Belarus and Russia and Israel and all these other countries that sell arms to the Burma army. But, you know, you asked the question about Aung San Suu Kyi. Aung San Suu Kyi, of course, under the 2008 Constitution, doesn't have authority over.
Oh, he knows that the 2008 Constitution, she does not have authorized some certain area, like a security or minority ethnic people. She does not can speak out those opinions, and military owned authorized the right to talk about those issues.
Security matters, that's given to the Burma army. But she does have a moral obligation to stand up. She has a stature internationally that, while damaged, is still fairly strong. She has strong popularity within the nation of Burma. Many people still support her, and she needs to step up and differentiate herself from what the Burma army is doing. She has to say, look, you know, these things that they have done have gone much too far, and we are going to investigate, and we're going to allow the UN to investigate.
She didn't say anything like what he said, right?
As foreign minister, she is the person who makes the decisions about whether the fact-finding mission that was mandated by the UN Human Rights Council has the right to enter the country or not. You know, she should say, yes, we're going to let them in, and we're going to urge them to go wherever they need to go to fulfill their mandate. and we respect the mandate of the Human Rights Council.
Okay, Abdul,
And if the Army has a problem with that, well, then the Army has to step up and resist it, but, then they're the villain, not her.
Why would Aung San Suu Kyi step in and side with the victims, whereas in fact she is very much in sync with the military on this, and she controls, except like the 2 or 3
what she should do.
important.
I'm not saying I don't know if she's going to do it or not. I mean, she may not do it. But the question was, what should she do? And this is what she has said.
But by not condemning, let me bring in Abdul here. By not condemning, Abdul, is she providing cover for the military?
It seems like that. We believe Aung San Suu Kyi have some limited power because of the 2008 constitution and the military, 25% of military in all the parliaments. So she has a less control, and the 3 key ministry also in the hand of the military as well.
Okay, but she's talking about the current government. So 25% of the parliament members are appointed by military, and 3 ministry is appointed by ministry controlled by military. So she cannot influence for those issues. So what she's talking about.
That is, Aung San Suu Kyi is the de facto leader of this country. So she is the most responsible. She has to speak out loudly, whatever going against the human being. This is most important. She comes with the justice, she comes with the right.
She is true. Even if she has not authorized, but she should speak out justice for human life. Okay?
Right word to use, and at least she needs to use to stop whatever going on is not according to international law, is a violation of the international law. So she has to realize.
Okay, and Manga, I'm just wondering,
she understands international law, violating international law. She understands, but she doesn't speak out right opinion. It's stupid, right?
I know that all the blame falls on Aung San Suu Kyi, but shouldn't it rather be the Commander-in-Chief Min Aung Hlaing, who Phil spoke about a little bit earlier on, who controls the army, who Europe and other parts of the world lay out the red carpet for him? Shouldn't he be the one who is focused from a sanctions point of view, that he should be removed from his post? Until that happens, nothing's going to change in the army, which is anachronistic as well.
No, I know these guys personally. Like the guys, top commanders in Min Aung Hlaing's office, like his senior deputies. They're my old friends, and it doesn't matter you remove Min Aung Hlaing, but that is why I said this is genocidal, because
he's so much hot, right?
Institutionalized the view that the Rohingya need to be removed on cultural and national security ground from that. By any means possible, there should be no Rohingya left standing by their name. That is why, whoever general is in charge, doesn't matter. The army is on an autopilot in terms of the Rohingya, eradication. That is why it's so crucial. We understand that this is an institutionalized killing, and the world needs to respond appropriately accordingly. And I think this case
okay, so institutionalized killing.
Case a spectacular failure once again of both the Security Council and the international community. We have failed over and over again in these cases, mass atrocities, whatever their legal names, ethnic cleansing, crimes against humanity, genocide. The fact is, UN is failing spectacularly. World leaders are failing spectacularly.
And it seems that the world is standing by while it's happening. And Phil, I'm just going to bring you in here, excuse me, jumping in. I'm just wondering where this leaves Bangladesh. They are in a situation where they are taking in all the Rohingya, the most unwanted people on the planet, I think it's fair to say. People are talking about a mini Palestine. They don't want them there. They can't afford to have them there.
Well, Bangladesh actually has stood up in a very important way. It was gratifying to see Sheikh Hasina go down to the camps and speak with the people and speak.
Okay, gratifying.
Publicly about the fact that these people are citizens of Burma. These people are persons who have to go back to that country. and that they have been treated inhumanely by the government of Burma. Bangladesh needs all the support it can get right now, and I think that there has to be a priority from donor nations around the world to be as generous as possible with Bangladesh and with the UN agencies and international NGOs that are working there to be able to get the sort of food, medicine, basic shelter, and other essential elements of disaster relief to those people, because we're in the middle of the monsoon season. We're looking at the possible outbreaks of very serious waterborne disease. They've got no sanitation. A lot of people haven't eaten, for days. I mean, this is the disaster of the first order, and it needs to be dealt with that way.
Manu, you're shaking your
but
head
over
there.
a longer period of time, I don't know what Bangladesh is going to do. Bangladesh
I
is
think,
going to face
the
a difficult situation because
I think Phil hit the nail on its head. Bangladesh has stood up after having put up with the Burmese denial of the persecution in Burma, and that the profound impact that Bangladeshi society has to bear as a neighbor. This is an international issue. This is not a domestic issue. And I think one of the best ways to back Bangladesh is not only increasing the funding and providing moral and diplomatic support, but to recognize and back. When Bangladeshi foreign minister 2 days ago, this is genocide. A Turkish minister has said it. Scholars after scholars have said it, because it's so crucial that the crime be named by its legal name, so that we could have a serious push to pressure Russia and China and others to come on board, or if not, we find solution outside of the UN Security Council. Security Council has not prevented or protected the innocent civilians in any genocidal situation since it was created in 1945 in San Francisco.
Okay,
He's talking about that crazy thing, just even if he, United Nations talking about Russia, China, push pressure, give them pressure, but they never change anyway, right? So he's just talking about useless words, right?
I'm going to bring you in now. Aung San Suu Kyi is not going to be turning up at the United Nations General Assembly gathering on Wednesday, and yet we are expecting a State of the Nation speech from her on Tuesday. Any idea what she's going to say? I mean, she must have something in her mind. She's going to have to address this situation. What do you think it is that she will be able to say?
This is really difficult. I don't know. I think that she should, if she is a smart politician. She said,
"Oh, this guy is crazy. He cannot speak out accurate opinion." He didn't say, "Okay, just listen."
She's not a human rights activist. She says she's a politician. She should be figuring out a way to differentiate herself from what has happened, what has been done on the ground by the Burma army. She should be trying to recognize the concerns of the international community and saying that, there needs to be actions taken. She needs to rededicate herself to the implementation of the Rakhine Advisory Committee report, which was the commission chaired by former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. There's a number of things she could say.
Kofi Annan is the former Secretary General of the United Nations. Now she's assigned to Myanmar to investigate what's going on.
But she's going to have to condemn, in some way, shape, or form, the actions of the Burma army on the ground, because quite clearly they are ethnic cleansing,
Well, again,
and they, are likely to be labeled as crimes against humanity as well.
Before we draw to the end of the program, Abdul, I mean, the problem is, if you don't have someone like Aung San Suu Kyi, who do you have? Do you think that's her strongest card at the moment?
No, what is the problem with us? We don't have only any choice without Aung San Suu Kyi, but Aung San Suu Kyi already facing the problem, many kind of challenges as herself, 2008 constitution and some other element also. So, but I think international community must come up with the more support to Aung San Suu Kyi, make her more strong. I think 2008 constitution is a need to be. I think it's very important to change the 2008 constitution where it's possible. It's very much important. I think without 2008 constitution, if not change, I think it's very difficult to have.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thanks very much to all my guests, Phil Robertson, Manzani, and Abdul
Okay, just finish.
Rashid. We look forward to hearing.
Just show them the Rohingya.
Oh, okay, Rohingya? Okay.
And
that one, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to show you the, just a moment. The last one. Okay, this Aung San Suu Kyi. And 1 week passed, and what happened? This one. Okay, this 8 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 weeks ago, and 1 year ago, 3 months ago, 3 months, 1 month ago, 1 month, 2 years, 4 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3 months, 3, 10, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. It means she didn't speak out any opinion until now. Okay?
Okay.
So this is just number 2.
After she went to China?
Yeah.
Okay.
She no change. Okay, I thought she was going to speak out something. No, she need to be change her mind, but actually she didn't. Okay, so this is her problem.
Catastrophic and
Okay, now it's I'm going to Iraq. Oh, this is Iraq. Oh, this is Iraq. Good, yes. Here. Okay, Iraq. 2003年にサダム・フセインの政権が崩壊して独裁政権が終了した。その代わりアメリカとイギリスのおかげで中東の混乱が始まった。これサダム・フセイン殺さなければ中東は何も起こらなかったんですよ。で、フセインのバーストは解散させられて、バーストのかなりの人たちはアイシスに行っちゃったんですね。なぜかってマリキがですね、シーア派に偏った。マリキ。前の首相ね。マリキはシーア派に偏ったんで、バーストって、スニ派なんだよ。だから、政府に入れなくて、結局、政権は不安定になって、結局、マリキを下ろしたのは、アメリカを下ろしたのもシーア派ばっかり雇ってるからね。で、アメリカはイラクを占領したけど、力による統治失敗しちゃったんですよ、結局。
ビンラディンはスニでしたっけ？
スニ。
ビンラディンスニですね。
サウジもスニ。サウジは、ワッファビズムなんですよ、サウジアラビアって。イスラム教徒で最も厳しい、スニなんですね。で、ワッファビズムを、中東に輸出しようとしたんですよ。ところが、それを受け入れたのは愛するだけで、あとみんな嫌がって厳しすぎるから。ね。そういう経緯があります。で、アメリカはイラクを占領したんだけど、アメリカは、
それを輸出しようとしたのは、サウジ、イラク。
サウジ
が輸出してそうですよね。で、イラクも嫌がったわけですね。
イラクどこも嫌がった。喜んだの愛するだけで、ビヘーティングって首切ったりさ、女性殺すのにストーニングで石投げて殺したりっていうのはワファビズム。それはサウジアラビアまでやってるわけね。で、今のサルマンね、やってる。それを喜んで受け入れたのは愛するだけ。で、アメリカはそのイラクを占領して、力で抑えようとしたんだけど、結局抑えられなくて、途中で政策変更してね、市民との対話を始めたんですね。それでもってイラク収まったんだけど、ところが、マリキがアメリカを撤退してくれと。撤退させちゃったんですね。そしたらば、
マリキがさせたんですか？
撤退するときも、イラクの政府は誰も、撤退式に来なかったんですね。
一個その説でも、フセインの後の政党のイラクのリーダーシップは 選挙で、民主的な選挙を一応やってますよね。
マリキ。
それで選ばれたのがマリキなんですね。
マリキ。
あ、オッケ
で、ところがアメリカが出てけってで追い出しちゃったんだけど、出たらすぐもうアイセルの、天下になっちゃったね。だからマリキが、能力ないからこうなっちゃったんで、まあそういうことなんですよね。で、その次はね、マリキがダメなんで、アメリカがマリキを下ろして、アバディ、アルアバディ。
じゃあマリキ、アメリカもういいよって言って、アメリカ外れた後に、マリキが降りたんで。
どっちが先かわかんない。多分ね、アルアバディがアメリカを追い出したのかもしれない。まあ、いずれにしてもアメリカいいよって。で、アバディが、IS が崩壊してからようやく民主主義を保つるの。多分やっぱ返したのはこれ、マリキだろうね。で、アバディが首相になって、IS が崩壊してからようやく民主主義を対応できるようになった。ただ国土が戦争に倒壊しており、インフラもない唯一産業であれば石油設備。その開発に数年かかるだろう。マイゼルは世界第3位。ね。あと、クルドの問題があって、クルド人が3500万人いるんですよ。で、クルド人の人口多く、大統領もクルド人なのね、ここは、イラクは。だから、プライムミニスターが、イラク人で、大統領はクルド人、ね。そういうバランスをとってる。彼らは独立の願望あるけれども、まあ、投票してね、独立したいとか、そんなことしても、ダメだから、というのでやめたんですね。で、今の国は、シーアとスンニ両方雇うようにして、で、イラクはイランとの関係は悪くない。ですね。で、クルド人の軍隊でペシメルガーって言って、独立戦争を起こすかどうかってまだわかんないけど、まあ、だけどまあそういうことはないだろう。僕は思ってるんですね。
これはイラク、僕クルドについてまだよく分かってないんですけども、トルコクルドとか、イラククルドとか、複数の国にまたがって、
クルド人はね、シリアとイラクとトルコの3カ国にまたがってますね。
またがってますよね。で、そのクルド人同士の関係は、どこに何もないんですか？
いや、悪くないんですよ。合わせて3500万人いるんだけど、イギリスが昔、なんだっけ。名前忘れちゃったけど、ピコなんとか協定で、なんとかピコ協定で1000引いちゃったね。で、それがクルド人を無視して引いちゃって、世界でも3500万人の人たちが国持ってないってのはクルドだけなんですよね。だから、
アフリカと、イギリスがアフリカでやったことと同じってことですよね。
でもアフリカはみんな独立したから。
できた。
アフリカはね、その後で1950年代から60年代、70年かけても、要するにそういうふうに民族的にいい加減に来たところ全部独立したんですよ。で、それを独立させなかったのはクルドだけなのね、中東で。あとアフリカはもう民族違うところが独立、もちろん民族だってアフリカの場合は、もうぐちゃぐちゃの民族だから、みんなそれぞれ独立はさせないけど、それぞれ大きなところはみんな独立させて、国はね。
でも国は独立してますけども、ぐちゃぐちゃってのおっしゃる通りで、いろんな、民族、国境線引いたままの独立になっているので、一つの国に複数の民族がいて、対立っていうのは存在したわけですよね。
それはだから独立した後30年ぐらいね、部族戦争があって、部族間闘争があって、それで、どこだっけな、100万人ぐらい殺しちゃったんですよ。土族と、ルワンダ。ルワンダ虐殺って言って、で、それも100万人ぐらいね、フツが土族殺したんですね。で、今の大統領が土族なんでね、カガメっていうんで、この人は立派な人で、で、わずか100日間で100万人殺しちゃったん
で。でもう一つは実はこれって、そういうふうに線を引いたことで、戦略が本当あるんですよね。
それはだから彼らが、
対立を、
彼らは中東が経済とかね、政治とか出てこないようにする線の引き方をしたんですね。で、中東では今、サウジとトルコとイラン、3つがあって、で、それぞれが、中東の、なんていうの、勢力をね、伸ばそうとしてんだけど、 結局、サウジはサルマンっていうのね、今、高校になったけど、あの人が、やっぱりね、まあ、言わないけど、アホなんだよね、きっとね。アホっていうかね、俺は国王だなと思ってんだけど、中東の人は、お前何国王だよ、みたいな態度なんですよね。カタールなんか明らか、あからさまにね、反サウジで切られちゃったけど、でみんなそう思ってるんですね。もちろん、引っ張ってるやつもいるけど、でも、国王ってそういうもんあるじゃないですか。ね、だから、何国王だよ、みたいなところが多いんですね。で、
本音はとですよね。
で、エルドアンのトルコは、シリア仲良くしようとかって言うんだけど、あんまり、中東の人はトルコみたいな、感じなんですね。で、まあ、今回アイシルでも、やっぱり、一生懸命やったのイランなんですね。
トルコじゃないんです。トルコもだって最前線でシリアの
いや、トルコはいつもクルドを気にしてばっかりいてね。で、大してやってないんですよ。クルドに戦ってて、で、本当にアイシル潰したのイランとロシアなんですね。だから、アサドはもう完全にイランについてるんですね。それから、あと、ヒズボラっつってさ、ヨルダンにヒズボラっているんだけど、これもイラン、これは、スンニなんだけど、シリアのイランが支援してるんですね。そういうのを提携して、中東はもう、間違いなくイラン。で、アメリカトランプがイランを嫌ってんの、で、サウジ立ててんのは、イランが中東でドミナントするのをトランプは嫌ってんだと思う。なんで嫌ってんのか僕もわかんないんだけど、要するにアメリカの意図としては、僕の想像では、混乱させたままにしておきたいっていうんだと思うんですよ。サウジとイラン、トルコを戦わせおいて、弱らせよう。だから、イランが中東を抑えちゃうと、あれは、なんだっけ、パール王朝、ペルシャ王朝の最高で、ものすごいドミナント力持っちゃうんで、それで、アメリカ政府は、イランに、あそこ中東を収めさせたくない。だから、サウジを支援してるんですね。イスラエル。サウジとイスラエル。で、サウジとイスラエルを組ませて、イランに対抗させて、で、トルコはアメリカはあんま管理できないんですよ。ギュレンっていうね、エルドアンの対抗馬はアメリカかくまってるんだけど、トルコはそれが頭に来てるんで、NATO も脱退しようと思ってるぐらいなんね。その中で、アメリカはトルコを管理できないから、サウジとイラクとくっついて、それでイランを叩こうとして。イランは、サウジなんか叩ける弾ではないです。イランのでっかいですね。だから、イランはもう全然大人として構えてて、サウジがいろいろやってくんだけど、っていう感じなんですね。
イギリスもなんか後ろで多分、サウジの後ろでなんか手引いてる感じですよね。
だけどイギリスはもう、なんていうの、斜陽だから、もう誰も評価してない。アメリカは力持ってるけどね。ただ、トランプのやり方も見えすぎててね。それはもうよくわかってて。だから、イギリスなんかも、イランを叩こうとしないんですよ。わかってるから。そんなことやってもね、うまくいかない。それが今の状況。中東はね。で、僕の見方としては、イランと、ロシアとね、シリアで組んで、シリアって力持ってる国なのね。もともと。で、イラクは当然ついてくるから、イラク、シリア、ロシアで中東を抑えるっていうのが構図ですね。で、サウジはもう没落していくと思うんですよ。で、イスラエルどうなるかっていうとね、わかんないんですけどね、多分、まあ、国としては残ると思うんですけど、発言力はもう、例えばウエストバンクで今ものすごく入植してるけどね、あそこら辺は僕10年経ったらイランが結構ね、抑えて、パレスチナの国家にするけど、多分収入植者の20万人はもう認めるから、パレスチナ人、イスラエル系パレスチナ人っていう風になると思うんですよ、きっと。イスラエル系イスラエル系パレスチナ人。イスラエル人だけど、パレスチナ国家。っていうのが僕の、憶測ですよね。そうなると思うんですね。で、イスラエルはもう力がどんどん、サウジと組んだからね。で、イスラエルとイランと絶対相入れないんで。 で、イランが結局中東を抑える。ロシアと一緒でね。で、っていうことは、サウジと組んだっていうことはもう凋落してっちゃう。カタールを切ったのが間違いなんですね。
誰がカタール？
サルマンが。そんなのもう全くナンセンスですよね。味方を切ったわけですよ。それが今のこれですね。Okay, a little bit about talking about Iraq. The politics of Iraq place in the framework of federal parliamentary representative democratic republic. Okay, typical parliamentary republic. Okay, it's a multi-party system whereby the executive power is exercised by the Prime Minister of Council of Ministers as the head of government, as well as the President of Iraq. President is Massoud, different person. And legislative power is vested in the Council of Representatives and the Federation Council. Join Kain kana? The current Prime Minister of Iraq is Haider al-Abadi, who holds the most of executive authority and appointed the Council of Ministers, which acts as a cabinet and all government. Fahd Massoud was overwhelmingly elected by the parliament in July 2014. He is the second ethnic Kurdish president of Iraq, succeeding Jalal Talabani. Okay? The Nouri al-Maliki Shia-led government that have held power since then have struggled to maintain order. They had very difficulty because he just al-Abadi is just Shia-led, okay, not Sunni. So, and in 2014, Haider al-Abadi forming new government solving conflict between Sunni, Shiite, and Kurdish factions. The country has enjoyed only brief periods of respite from highly level of sectarian violence. Violence and sabotage hinder the revival of an economy shattered by decades of conflict and sanctions. Iraq has the world's third largest reserves of crude oil. Okay? So why America invaded Iraq? This is 2 years ago, but this is very short explanation. Usually this video is very long, but this is very short in 5 minutes. Why did America invade Iraq in 2003? Was it for oil, or was it because Saddam Hussein was a mass murdering dictator who harbored terrorists and threatened the region with weapons of mass destruction? If it was the former oil, wouldn't it have been a lot easier to just buy Iraq oil on the open market? And if it was the latter, this mass destruction, why did Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, and John Kerry support President Bush? Noted Bush Jr. Noted British historian Andrew Roberts have the answers. Okay, this is a short video, so you can have a look.
The decision. The reason was clear. Saddam Hussein, the brutal dictator of Iraq for 35 years, is the central threat to peace in the Middle East.
Okay.
Why did the United States go to war against Iraq?
Can you pause? Okay.
This one.
What I want to mention that introduction didn't explain about Iraq invading Kuwait.
No. He's going to start to
you talk about Kuwait?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay. Because that was a trigger.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
what he's going to explain. only for 6 minutes, very short, and very condensed. But you don't know the history about Iraq and Kuwait and Iran, but it's too quick. So very difficult. Just ask.
In 2003. The decision was controversial at the time and remains so today, but the reason was clear. Saddam Hussein, the brutal dictator of Iraq for 35 years, was the central threat to peace in the Middle East. With that threat removed, the Bush administration believed the establishment of a functioning democracy in Iraq would encourage the growth of democracy elsewhere in the Arab world. As democracy spread, terrorism would retreat. But it is on the blood-stained life and career of Saddam Hussein that we need to concentrate in order better to understand why the United States felt forced to act in 2003. We begin with the Iran-Iraq War, which Saddam started in 1980 and which lasted until 1988. 1 million people died in the course of the decade-long struggle. And during that war, weapons of mass destruction, or WMD, especially poison gas, were used on a regular basis by both sides. Once his war with Iran ended, instead of building up his shattered nation, Saddam decided to embark on another lunatic adventure. In 1990, he tried to grab 19% of the world's oil supply by invading Kuwait. His brief annexation of Kuwait proved to be another disaster. The mother of all battles, as Saddam called it, turned out to be a 3-week rout. His Iraqi army utterly defeated by a US-led.
Okay, do you understand?
Okay. So far, the Iraq-Iran war.
Yeah.
And
they killed 1 million.
1 million people, and also used a weapon of mass destruction with mustard gas.
That's right.
So, and then in addition to that, Hussein decided to invade Kuwait.
That's right.
So he was basically trying to gain much more power in the Middle East.
Exactly. Okay.
Led coalition. But rather than trying Saddam as a war criminal, America and the West allowed him to stay in power. This appeasement eventually led Saddam, once again, to draw entirely the wrong conclusion and to his making yet another colossal mistake. He arrogantly believed that his Iraqi army might actually defeat the United States in a...
He mistaken this point, okay? You got confidence to defeat the United States.
Hussein really believed that?
Yeah.
Really?
His trump card, he believed, or at least attempted to make the world believe, was his possession of WMD, large quantities of poison gas and, if only his imagination, a rapidly progressing nuclear weapons development program. There was no reason to doubt that he had WMD, as he'd used poison gas in his war against Iran. No one, not the Germans, not the Russians.
Okay, everybody believe it. He owns.
He owned the weapon of mass destruction.
Not the British.
The nuclear weapon or the mustard gas?
No, mustard gas.
Any doubts about this? Looking back at the 12 years between the Gulf War and the Iraq War, Saddam might have been able to re-establish international credibility by complying with the 16 reasonable UN resolutions passed between November 1990 and December 1999. These resolutions simply required Saddam to, among other things, destroy all of his ballistic missiles with a range greater than 150 kilometers.
This is exactly the same as North Korea. Exactly the same as North Korea. This is United Nations resolution, and destroy all of his ballistic missile with a range greater than 150 kilometers, right? That sort of things. They did many of those United Nations. They just caution for the Iraq, right? This is the same, exactly the same.
Very good point.
Right?
Very good point. Yeah. I didn't think about that, but
maybe America attacked North Korea, is it?
Yeah, January.
January.
Well, there's a news. There's a news.
No, I don't know that. But you were talking about Japanese news, right? No?
Well,
Japanese news is not reliable.
Well, I think it's Reuters.
Might be, okay.
But in Europe, they're telling soldiers to prepare for something big coming.
Everybody, families, left South Korea?
No. I'm talking about in Europe.
Europe?
So U.S. So maybe to all the U.S. stations in Europe, military stations, to prepare for something big.
Good. Okay.
Maybe it's a rumor about it. So that's something I kind of briefly read.
If war happens, the Japanese economy tremendously collapsed for one while. 6 months.
Because we can't. Yeah, all the transportations, the trade, big time.
Yeah, big problem.
And curious of who gonna take over that? Who gonna fix that?
Do you know, by the way, different issues I remember, South Korean people bought 30% of population bought Bitcoin. Did you know that?
Really?
35% of population bought Bitcoin.
This year? 2017?
This year, of course. Bitcoin. 35% South Korea. And average amount is 5,000 US dollars. 5,000 US dollars average.
They invest 5,000.
Invest average.
Recently, a lot of Japanese people invest.
I don't know how many Japanese. I don't know how many Japanese.
Too, but lots of stories.
Huh? Really?
It's increasing, but lots of stories about negative. They're losing money.
But anyway, I didn't. I just envied them.
Stop support for terrorism internationally and prevent terrorist organisations from operating within Iraq, and bear financial liability for damage from the Gulf War. But Saddam spent the 1990s defying and mocking America and Britain in every possible way. He attempted to shoot down Royal Air Force and US Air Force planes over the no-fly zones created to prevent him from mass slaughtering his own citizens. He corruptly profited from the...
I didn't do this, and they just United Nations gave them food, but Saddam Hussein didn't spend for the children.
But oil for food.
Not oil. US gave them food scandal, not oil.
What do you say, food scandal?
Just I don't know, but just listen, not food, oil.
Citizens. He corruptly profited from the UN oil for food scandal, while the
UN
oil,
not oil, not oil for food. Oh something, or I don't know, but anyway, just UN tried to food money for him, but he didn't spend kind of food for Iraq children. So they starved to death.
Oh, okay. So he didn't receive the food. He received the money for food.
No, I don't know. But this I don't know this food scandal. What was that?
Oh, okay.
But anyway, that he didn't give those food to the children. So many people dead. Okay. This is the English. Usually we just guess, Don't understand and want to work or just I know this scandal. What was that? If you're going to looking for the internet, but you cannot find out what happened.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, of course. You just guess, Okay, let's continue.
Iraqi children starved to death. He offered $25,000.
This is also I didn't know that. Offered $25,000 US dollars
to the families of
every Palestinian suicide bomber.
Suicide bombers.
Are you sure? Okay.
I wasn't aware of that.
Every Palestinian suicide bomber. He harbored many of the world's leading...
I believe that's a lie. Okay, not true. 25,000 he never gave to the suicide bomber. No. He did never do that. This is fake news.
Fake news.
And he expelled UN weapons inspectors.
Yes, he did.
By the time of the terrorist attack on the United States of 9/11, something for which Saddam was not responsible for or ever blamed for, any war against terror that did not involve toppling this brutal dictator.
Okay, he didn't involve it for kind of, just attack, right? He
supply WMD to terrorists for future attacks would have been absurd. Still, had he backed down and accepted repeated United Nations resolutions, especially those requiring him to prove he had destroyed his stockpiles of WMD and had no nuclear weapons development program, there would have been no US action. Instead, he only became more bellicose. That's why some leading Democrats, such as Senators Hillary...
Just don't forget that bellicose. Bellicose against America. Everybody killed.
What does bellicose mean?
Bellicose is 好戦的. 好戦 bellicose. 好戦的な against America. Everybody killed, like Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi and everybody. Hitler. Yes.
Clinton, Joe Biden and John Kerry voted to authorize the Second Iraq War. Only later did they recant their decisions after claiming that they'd been lied to by the administration. But there had been no need for the Bush administration to lie. Its assessment of the threat that Saddam posed concurred with that of the Clinton administration, as well as with numerous European intelligence services. And the road to a democratic Middle East had to begin in Iraq. A vicious, mass-murdering despot who had convinced the world that he had WMD and would use them stood in the way. In the spring of 2003, that was obvious both to Republicans and many Democrats, as well as to the leadership of Britain and dozens of other nations. That's why President Bush took America to war against Iraq. I'm Andrew Roberts for Prager University.
Okay.
Question. So, where was nuclear weapon?
No, he didn't have anything at all.
Right?
He did no involvement for the nuclear weapon.
Hussein had nothing to do with nuclear weapon.
No.
And WMD?
WMD is just
right?
kind of gas.
Yeah, mustard gas, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, nuclear weapon is justified as fake news to the world.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To justify U.S. action.
Yes. And major reason is Saddam Hussein is very close against America. This is a major reason. Always against America, those people are killed. But Assad is saved by Russia. And usually he's supposed to be killed, but Russia saved. Iran supported Assad, so America cannot touch him.
So that's why Erdogan supposed to be killed, but he also escaped.
Oh, Erdogan.
Yeah, because
No, I believe Erdogan is America cannot kill him because Erdogan and Rouhani, Iran, is I think too big to kill.
Too big.
Too big to kill. Like this, Iraq is not so big, right?
But they
North
tried.
Korea is not so big, right?
But with Erdogan, they did try. Or was that just performance?
America cannot do that. It's
NATO or you? It's NATO. It's them. And that's why.
Yeah, they just in near future they I don't know they retreat from NATO or not, but they try to shake hands with Russia. And Erdogan is more closer to Russia.
Yes.
And also they try to relationship with Iran, and against Saudi Arabia. So leaving from United States.
And NATO.
But America is if America try to kill Erdogan, it's not so much beneficial for America.
Well, now it's not, but. It used to be the Gulen's supposed to be the replacement. Originally, that was their original tech. Now it's really a mess, right? So in my assumption, they did try. It just failed. They did try.
Yes, right. That's a coup.
Yes. So they did try, but it
They
just
had 2
failed.
years ago, they had coup d'etat in
Mhm.
Turkey,
Mhm.
Focus on Erdogan.
Mhm.
But coup
Because-
is failed.
Yes, because Erdogan was
Oh,
pissing.
that's right. This is originally intended by CIA, but actually failed.
Mm. Mhm. Yep.
So,
Yep.
kill or not, but they try to
Change the power.
change the party,
Mm.
change the regime,
Mm.
but they couldn't do that.
No, and also show how
That's
much.
right. You're right. Okay, I agree with you. Okay, this one is history of Iraq.
Mm.
Okay. I summarize. アメリカは中東に民主主義を移植しようとしたが、35年クリス戦が邪魔であった。民主主義がこの中東に移植できればテロ活動なくなるだろうと考えた。80年か88年までイラン・イラク戦争で100万人が死んだ。相互毒ガスを使った。90年にイラクがクウェート侵攻し、その日91年に湾岸戦争が始まった。その後2003年イラク戦争が始まる前のフセインは全く湾岸戦争の反省をしなかった。テロを支援していたが、911には関与していなかった。これがサマリーですね。OK？
でもう一つの民主主義に関してなんですけども、アメリカは、ある意味ですよ。ある意味アジアで、日本を拠点に、民主化政策を、始めて、実際にある意味成功してるんですよね。で、それも実績に、その根拠にはなったはずなんですよ。で、実際に当時の、アメリカの政治家じゃなくって、現場、中東にいたアメリカですね、日本の、なんだっけな、髭を話した、当時の自衛隊のちょっと有名だった、日本にも政治家になってる方なんですけども、その人に話しかけたエピソードがあって、なんで中東では、日本みたいに民主主義が浸透しないのかっていうふうに疑問を持ったって話があるんです。
僕これね、このまま書いたけどね、
はい、
僕の意見は、もともとアメリカは中東に民主主義なんか移植しようと考えてなかった。
考えてなかった。
うん。アラブの春ってアメリカに仕掛けたんだけど、
はい、
民主主義なんか浸透させるつもり全くなかった。
アラブの春もですね。
うん。混乱させようとした。ただ単に。
つまり、統一して力が、ロシアみたいにでかくなってくると、今度アメリカの方向性異なってくるので、脅威になるので、
アメリカ中東はずっと政策としては、混乱させたままにしておきたかった。
まとまらせたくない。
うん。で、リビアは別で、リビアはね、彼力が、持ちすぎちゃって、アフリカ銀行を作ったりね、アフリカのお金共通通貨作ろうとしたり、で、あそこももう、セントラルアフリカあたりまでね、彼のカダフィの力でもってね、そういうふうな共通のね、国家を作ろうとしてた。
それは世界銀行と方針が全然違いますね。
だから IMF とワールドバンクに歯いたから殺されたのね。で、ただ、カダフィ消した時にリビアはどうなるかっていうことはアメリカ想像もしてなかったんだけど、結局あんなになっちゃっても全くね、豊かな国だったんですよ、あれ前はね。学校も無料で、医療も無料だったけど、今全くもう。
シリアもそうですよね。豊かって言って平和で。
シリアも豊かって。あれシリアもね、
ないですからね。
シリアもね、豊かだったんで、結局やっぱりアメリカに、要するに、シリアは多分ね、石油をね、ドルじゃなくてユーロにしたのかな。アメリカの反感を買って、で、ああいうことが起こったのね。で、リビアの時は明らかにアラブの春は、デモした人が訓練された、アメリカによって訓練された、要するにそういう人たちが入っていたのね。普通のデモじゃない。シリアも多分そうだと思う。そういうのがやっぱりあって。日本人って割かし素直に取ってるんだけど、アメリカってのはそんな綺麗じゃなくて、すごく汚いんだよね、彼ら。 だから、今回もだから、民主主義を移植しようなんて思ってない。それは日本人思っちゃってるんだけどね。そんなことありえない。一番いい例がアフガニスタンで、トランプが、もう選挙の時から撤退するって言ったのがね、当選したら突然、8000人にさらに3000人送ったでしょ。あれは、もう完全に自分の利権で、自分の利権を取ろうとして、アフガニスタンを食い物にしようとしてね。もうサウジなんか、
さらにですよね。ただでさえ、もう食い物に。
それなぜ分かったかと、エリック・プレイスが、シニアアドバイザー。エリック・プレイスって傭兵、マーセナリーってね、傭兵の親分でしょ。それが。
ブラックウォーターですよね。
ブラックウォーター、そうそう。そう。悪いやつ。それがシニアアドバイザーでトランプ雇ってるってことは信じられないけど、日本人誰も知らないけどさ、あんなの、ブラックウォーター知ってればね、トランプが悪いやつだってことわかんないね。で、トランプ支持されてるのはさ、下級労働者だからね。だからそんなことはあんまり気にしてないんだけど、彼が、例えばサウジに1000億ドルの武器売ったでしょ。あんな全部イエメンの空爆のためだからね。アンチフーティー。そんなことやって、サウジなんかそんな戦争能力ないのにさ、1000億ドルの武器売ってさ、何するかってアメリカよくわかっててさ、こいつらバンバン爆弾落としてさ、勝てるわけないやと思ってんだ、穴から。バカじゃないのと思っててもさ、サウジはさ、王様だから。ね。だから、お金いっぱい持ってるからさ、それでもって爆弾を。
実際お金を持っているんですけども、あとは、イギリスの、忘れちゃったけど、表には出てこないですけども、軍隊の、組織があそこに駐在していて、で、英語を、教えてるように待ったりもするんですよ。ただ、もう実際にサウジにそういう仕事を言ってる人知ってるんですけれども、話を聞くと、その人たちは能力はやっぱり、兵隊としての能力が全くみんな持っていなくて、王様だけじゃないんです。知識を持ってないっていうのは。やっぱ、国民のみんなそういう、コモンセンスがやっぱない人が多くて、で、ただなんだっけな、その軍隊に配属しなきゃいけない期間があるみたいなんですよね。でいかにその期間を平和にその人たちに過ごしてもらうかっていうのが、ある意味、課題なんです。で
サウジアラビアの軍隊弱いや
ん。もちろんです。だから、国内で反乱を起こしてほしくないから。
弱い。全然相手にならない。実践してないんだ。
国内でも反乱を多くからしてみたら、クーデーターは人少ないわけですよね。
全然弱い。だから彼は知らないんだけど。国王の王様だからね。Okay, the next I'm going to start to the Al-Abadi's speech. He's very good speaker. And his English very good. Okay? And understandable. But very long, 42 minutes. Just a moment, I'm going to show you the Al-Abadi's. Okay, just, 反政府活動に参加、Iraq Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi speaks at the Institute of Peace.
Oh, this year?
This year. Okay? 参加してた兄弟二人のうち二人が、サダム・フセインに殺された。2003年米国の主導のイラク侵攻まで。彼はエンジニアリング業界のコンサルタントとして英語で働いていた。一方、亡命イラク人たちによるダーワ党、彼はダーワ党っていうのか知らない。指導者を務めた。フセイン政権崩壊後は2003年から2004年まで通信大臣を務め、戦争によって破壊電話システムを再構築して、集まる携帯インターネット系。これね、戦争で電話って言ってるけどね、ソマリアって今政府がなかったのね。
ソマリア？
ソマリア。政府なかったのね。だけどね、インターネット 4G 入ってんの。政府ないの。もう最先端のインターネット。
それを メンテナンスしてるのはどこ、プライベート
電話会社。
電話会社ですか？
They don't have any kind of internet. They don't have any government, but they already implemented 4G system and private company maintain in Somalia.
Infrastructure.
And they have also civic society. No government, civic society. No school, but no health insurance, everything else, nothing. But civic society existed and 4G system. And private company maintain this kind of system, all Somalia. So internet is the one of the most, fastest country in the world, Somalia. So everybody using Facebook and any kind, no restriction. They can use freely and very cheap. And pay to the internet company. Okay, they can connect to the internet. So without government. But very recently, this year, a new government is established and they start. We are not sure what's going on, but no school, no health insurance, nothing else. But now it's only that. But that place is Al-Shabaab, is similar to ISIL organization, dominant in the country. So that's next issue is how to eliminate Al-Shabaab, how to solve the tribes conflict. Okay? And if they can solve two issues, the country will going to be stable. But it takes time. But internet, world fastest. Okay? So,彼の話ね。サウジとイランとも仲良く付き合っていきたいと考えている。彼経歴極めて西洋の考えが十分理解していて、まともな考えを持っている。彼の内容に違和感ない。サウジとイランとも仲良くしている。もともとね、彼の話聞いてみればわかるけどね、この人はね、西洋、イギリスで仕事してたんだね。エンジニアリングのコンサルティングやったのね。his whereabout. この話の中では、ダッシュとか書いていく、ダッシュ。ダッシュのことね。ダッシュと書いていく、ダッシュ。アイシスのことね。それから、パラライズ。よく出ます。アトラージよく出ます。レプリマンド。あんまり出ない。これしょっちゅう、ハボック。これしょっちゅう出ます。グリーバンス。これもしょっちゅう出ます。タード。ほとんど聞かない。コフェン。これしょっちゅう出ます。アンタゴナイズ。これもしょっちゅうあります。ポラライズあります。ミニストリアル。ミニストリアル。ポラライズ
いや、もう見ていい。タードなんて、
タード。タードね。使いません。ミニストリアル。それから、ユニタリー。アゴニー。アマウント。クラッチ。もうあんまり使わない。well off. Intrinsic.これもよく出てきますね。モザイク。impunity。これしょっちゅう出ますね。without impunity という使い方をしますね。何の咎めもなく。から、demobilize。blunt。よく使います。forensic evidence。これしょっちゅう出ます。forensic。これしょっちゅう出ますね。frank。rocky。new breed。I think much more difficult word, but I just only, maybe it is good enough. I thought, okay, just,
difficulties that could paralyze many. There are many challenges ahead. We look forward to hearing your thoughts and views of how to meet those challenges for a more peaceful Iraq future. Please join me in welcoming Prime Minister Abadi to the podium.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, USIP, for this gathering. It's a pleasure for me to be here. we have gone a long way since 2 years ago. Nobody had imagined, even when I was here last year, that we'll be in Mosul today. And we have liberated the majority of Nainawa and majority.
Okay, this is just after Mosul.
Where is Mosul? Where is Mosul?
Mosul is a big city. I think one of Iraq's second largest city. Yes, Mosul is occupied by ISIL, but take this city out from ISIL by Iraq.
So it's a city in Iraq.
Yeah. This is much. Okay, this much.
Of Mosul. Now the advance that our security forces has made is very courageous. They didn't have only to fight, but they have to fight and win over the population while keeping the citizens at home in order to protect them. Because if we would have allowed the citizens to flee their houses, as some probably suggested at the time, we wouldn't have been able to care for these civilians, probably 1 million or over 1 million of the population in Mosul itself and the areas surrounding it. But we have managed, through our security forces, to liberate the people and to have the trust of the people. Most of the intelligence about the whereabouts of arms, explosions, and terrorist elements are provided by the locals, who were supposed to be loyal to Daesh, according to the assumption of many. Over the rule of Daesh for 2.5 years over these areas, we have managed to win over these areas, to liberate them, and we are at the last stage of liberating the whole of Nainawa. In actual fact, liberating the whole of Iraq from Daesh and terrorism of Daesh. We have established a very good working relationship, which has not happening in the history of Iraq, for the Iraqi security forces, for Iraqi military to fight alongside the Peshmerga, and vice versa. There is a mutual trust.
Okay, Peshmerga is Kurdish army. Okay, he said he worked with Peshmerga,
which has never been seen before, which is a very positive sign by moving from confrontation and trust to more working relationship. I wasn't, to be honest with you, expecting things to be that smooth. Me and President Barzani were...
Barzani is Kurdish president. Barzani.
Of Iraq.
Asud Barzani.
Well, troubled at times, that because there were a lot of frictions in the past, a lot of enmities, but believe me, there was not a single incident of misunderstanding between the Peshmerga and the Iraqi forces while they were fighting together.
He's just thinking about the Kurdish people, and they each other understanding well, even military people.
Collaborate.
Yes,
well.
Yes.
Against a very vicious enemy, and despite the difficulties of the past. So this is a new Iraq which we would like to see, a new Iraq which we would like to establish, and it is possible to establish it. My point is about stabilization and reconstruction of the areas which we have liberated. So far, 1.6 million people, internal displaced people, returned to their homes. Is a huge accomplishment when the war is still there, when the oil prices has went down so far, in a country where 93% of the budget relies on oil. And despite that, we have been able to stabilize these areas, to provide the minimum of the services to the people so people can return to their areas. This is one of the accomplishments. The other one is, which we are relying on local forces now in the liberated area to protect the civilians inside. We are keeping our military as a national army representing all the people. I remember 2 years ago when I took office, many of our military commanders would tell me they feel very uncomfortable at checkpoints when they go to the south and governorates and other areas, because the people would curse them and tell them, you let us down. We are not proud of you. Now Iraqi people are proud of our military. They are proud of our security forces. They see them as a national hero. They represent all Iraqis, because our direction to them is to respect people, to respect human rights. For you to fight for the country, you have to win over the people. When you want to arrest a terrorist or a criminal, you should just arrest that criminal or a terrorist, and you should behave properly with his family and the rest of the population. You don't want to arrest one person and make another 20 enemy of the state or enemy of the society. I think the whole behavior of our security forces has been transformed. I'm not saying there are not excesses of human rights. It still happens. This is a war, and you cannot control the whole apparatus of our security forces and the community at large, but at least we hold them accountable. We are not allowing any incident which we know about. There may be other incidents which we don't have proof about, we don't have enough information about. But where we know about, we have enough information about, we take action. And we reprimand these responsible for these acts. And I think commanders and others, they know that if they make something wrong, they'll be held accountable for their action. And this has transformed the way our military, our security forces are dealing with the public at large. I think we have won over our population. We have extended our hands to all communities inside Iraq. One major point of the policy of my government is to delegate more responsibility to the regions and to the governments. And we've been doing this successfully. There was fear that once you delegate more responsibility, the country may disintegrate. I say it's the opposite. When you give more delegation to the regions, they will be more feeling within one country. They will feel they are part of the country and they have to defend it. Of course, there is a balance between federal authority and regional authority, and anyone knows about federal system, they know this fact. We have to keep this balance according to the Constitution and according to the law. And of course, we have to build our institutions. Iraq has been always a central state, where it's governed from the center. So most check and balances are made from the center. We don't have check and balances, many checks and balances in the region. So I think we have to make these check and balances in the region more powerful. We have to build them in the institution way, and we have to give more support so that politicians can be held accountable to what they do. And this is very important for us, of course.
He said responsibility delegate to the region instead of central government.
I'm not saying things we are happening in Iraq is easy. Of course, a lot of people don't. I mean, we have a lot of opposition. I mean, welcome to democracy. But this is a new democracy where sometimes the line between democracy and non-democratic behavior is not well defined. And sometimes they feel...
Oh, he understands what is democracy and delegate responsibility to the region area. So I think Iraq is, they try to very quickly try to rebuilding their country as democratic country. Okay? Because
freedom of speech means freedom of encouraging terrorism, encouraging havoc, encouraging breaking the law, and encouraging all sorts. But we are moving, and I can claim that in the last more than probably 20 months, there has been demonstrations in Iraq weekly in many governors at the same time. And the security forces were keeping peace with these demonstrations, protecting them and protecting the population at large. I don't think this is a phenomenon which is witnessed in the Arab world or in the region at large. And we are happy with that, for people to speak out their grievances, to say what they want, and in this way I think we can build better Iraq by listening to others. The distinction between a belief and being in government, it must be defined. The government is responsible for the whole population, regardless of their affiliation, of their belief. And people in a position of responsibility should act according to this. And I think this government has been very eager to demonstrate this behavior and is dealing with its citizens. I'm not saying we were successful in all departments, But at least we have drawn a line, a new line in the policy of a government towards its population. The last thing is reform. Reform is important for us. We have to bring back the trust of the people in the system, in the way we govern the country. This is a new democracy. It will be a sad day for all of us if people believe dictatorship is better than democracy. Because if democracy didn't protect them, didn't provide for them, if there are corruption in the political system, and the political system is unable to correct the corruption of politicians and others and responsibility, I think we'll fail. So reform is a must. We must go through reform, but I tell you, it's not an easy task. From my experience in reforms, you get people who are very close to you who become against you, because in reform you do things which people don't like, especially people in position and people who have authority. I've been through this. I say probably I'm lucky that I survived so far, but I think we are almost there. I think this is a job of a leader or a prime minister of a country to deliver at the end of the day to the people. We are liberating our areas despite our economical difficulties, and we are killing Daesh. We are proving that Daesh can be killed. Daesh can be eliminated. And we can do it, not only in Iraq, in the region. I'm encouraging our allies and our friends to stay focused. We shouldn't lose focus. We shouldn't give Daesh a second chance, or the terrorist organization similar to Daesh. If we stay focused, we can eliminate this terrorist organization. And we can prevent similar terrorist organization from coming back. Working together, I think we can be successful. Thank you very much.
Okay, so he can speak English very well, and in the Middle East, very rare person. Usually, very hard to listen what he is talking, but he's very native English speaker.
And more calm. He used to be more. I see more people with more emotions, more angry, or more one-way minded. But he's very democratic minded.
Yeah, comprehensive and all-round type of speaker. He just
and positive too.
Yeah. Also, understand democracy and consider for the government reform and the delegate responsibility to local people.
Good vision too.
Yeah, he has vision. So I think if you watch this video, you understand Iraq will going to be good country.
If he can remain as a leader.
Yes, this is very important. Who the leader? And I think that currently I'm preparing Africa. Africa is the same. President, good president, okay, no problem at all. It's that president, like Mugabe, is switching to new person. New person is very similar to Mugabe. Okay. But it means many news tell that, okay, they're going to switch into more democracy. No change. Nothing changed, the same. Because this guy, new person, is working with Mugabe for many years. Right? And just Mugabe consider for give the president's position to his wife, right, ex-wife. That was terrible. That's the reason why he need to be withdraw his position. And but South Africa is also the new chairman of the organization, Zuma. Okay, Zuma is not president, still not yet. He just keep his position as president, but he lost his position of his party, and I just forget the name of something Paul or something. Name of his name is the new chairman of this party, but he is different from Mugabe and Zimbabwe. South Africa is deputy president. He comes from different party and organization, and he's very good. So now South Africa is getting better. Okay, Zuma is a lot of corrupted person, and also his wife is terrible. What's the name of her name is terrible. He just problem at many places. And also, Zuma want to give her the position of the chairman of his party, right? And so South Africa is getting much better, but Zimbabwe is just not good. Still the same. This whole thing. But this Iraq is his Al-Abadi is very talented person. If he will not be assassinated, this country is going much better than before. Okay. So today is just any question?
No, it's already time. Wow.
That's good. Next is just question and answer. I'm going to start.